Welcome back to Ladies of Another View on Beck, and thanks for sticking with us. It's been a tough day. It's been tough topics. It's been just frustrating. Sometimes I just want to go home and, I don't know.
Well, I think it's good reminders for us too, because it was 80 years ago that Pearl Harbor happened, but there's so much happening just today too that we need to be aware of. And just like we said before, is being awake, be aware.
It's almost like we are in World War III, but it's more on the cyber level instead of the boots on the ground kind of level.
Right. So we're all involved and we're all affected some way or another.
Right. Well, we're going to kind of fast forward into a different topic and another frustrating topic, and it was the school shooting in Michigan. Such a devastating situation where a young student went in and there were some warning signs, and he had drawn pictures about basically that he was going to kill somebody. And the parents came to the school and went in with the counselor and talked, and they basically said, nope, let him stay in school. And the counselor agreed that, yep, he's not a threat, let's keep him in school. So 3 hours later, he was back in school in the classroom, and then he takes a gun out and he shoots 11 people. So
it's tragic.
It's tragic. And so now they're kind of looking at it differently. A lot of times they just blame the shooter. At this time, though, they're kind of taking a look at the parents and their responsibility. The parents had the gun, had just bought it days earlier, and I haven't done the research as to why they bought it, what the reasoning was. Have you guys seen that yet?
I have seen some.
What was the reasoning? Why did they buy that gun?
It sounded like they did it together with the son, and it was going to be something, maybe they were going to go out target shooting or doing that. So it was kind of like, okay, this is something we're going to do together. But I don't know what the end goal was.
Right.
What the situation with the student was. And it's hard to always know that everything. We just are hearing one piece of it.
Right.
We don't know all of the history of this person, the family, or what was happening. What breaks your heart is that there's 11 lives. No, we don't want to say just 11. Think how many lives are affected.
Right.
Because each of them have parents and grandparents and brothers and sisters and whatever. So
and
it's thousands of people, teachers.
I did want to give a shout out to the person that tried to stop all this, Tate Myrie, and he was killed as a result of it. He actually bled out on his way to the hospital in the back seat of the cop car. So unfortunate, but had he not come to their rescue, how many more lives would have been lost, right? And so a lot of times they put all this, all of the, shine the light on the shooter. And it's like, we need to start shining the light on the heroes. We don't need to give the shooter more press, basically. We need to talk about those that are affected. Now here they are at the Oxford High School, and what they want to do is they want to rename the football field for Tate. And I think that would be something that
gives me goosebumps.
Right. And so there was a memorial. This is part of the memorial. People are dropping off stuffed animals and flowers and whatnot. I'm assuming those are probably some students or maybe a mother that looks like a mother and a student right there.
Yeah.
We have some other photos as well. This is the school, the Oxford Wildcats, and they do want to name the gymnasium after that. But then, we talk about what had happened. I guess afterwards, the parents went into hiding. They took $4,000 out of their ATM and they went to hide
somebody's warehouse or something.
Like an artist's warehouse. And then after the artist figured out, and he was a friend of theirs, and he said, yeah, you can stay over here. But he had said, well, because they had death threats and stuff, so sure, go ahead, hang out here. But he didn't know that they withdrew $4,000. He didn't know they were hiding out, and he didn't know that they missed a preliminary hearing. So at that point, he did turn them in, which is a good thing. But I think we have a photo of the parents here. So this is the parents in question. But they are all in jail right now in separate cells, so they can't get their stories together. So who knows what happened beforehand. But I guess I had read one report or saw a video where the boy had been researching bullets at school, and the teacher had actually turned him in. Yeah. And the message from the parent, the mother, had texted back, LOL, next time don't get caught.
Right.
And it's like, so she took it so lightly too. And so what's going to come of this family?
Right, that's a great question. And yeah, how involved were the parents too? Or I was on the phone earlier today and talking about this, and another thought that my friend that I was talking to said is it's interesting how like at school boards, parents are being targeted there too, and people are being arrested. Is, you know, I mean, maybe these parents are at fault. I don't know enough of the story, but maybe they're just parents raising kids that have mental health issues, you know,
Right.
too. So who knows? But it's interesting. I don't know. I find it interesting that the parents are being targeted, and they're being targeted not only in the shooting, but also, you know, if you speak out at school board hearings or anything like that too.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, well, I think sometimes too is looking at the responsibility,
right.
you know, and that's where, you know, not to blame others, but also to take a responsibility for what happened. I mean, we think about the shooting that happened at the set of, you know, the
Alec
show.
Baldwin.
But yeah, and it was like, how can you say you did not fire a shot when the gun was in your hand?
Well, his story changed too. At first, he said he did pull the trigger, but he thought it was a blank, and he was aiming at the camera. So he was aiming at the circle of the camera lens, and he pulled the trigger. That was his first story initially,
right.
but he thought it was a blank. And now he said, no, I just jacked the hammer back.
It's yeah,
The hammer.
fat,
And then
yeah.
so once the hammer was jacked, and then he took his finger off, and then the gun went off. So his story has changed. It's all about guns, though. And I hate to say it, and there's always been, you know, talk of not letting Americans own guns, and little by little they're trying to take things away. So whenever one of these shootings take place, and they're all very tragic. Don't get me wrong, they're all very tragic. But right away, the people want to take away the guns,
Right.
and that's not what we need to do. You can go ahead and look at Chicago and know that in Chicago, which is one of the tightest gun control areas in the nation, has the highest murder rate. So how does that happen?
Right.
And they're saying too to have everything registered. So you'd have to, if you have any gun in your home, that every one of it has to be registered along with the ammunition. It's not just the gun itself, but
So then they know how to find them.
right.
Well,
So
and
you
you
know
think-
which home they're in and everything.
Right. And then, well, think about like the guy that drove the vehicle through the parade and killed all those people. So ban vehicles.
Right?
You
I
know?
wouldn't get any speeding tickets.
That's true. Go back to the horse and buggy.
Well, and he had done it before, so it wasn't the
Oh,
first
yeah,
time
yeah.
that he had done something like that. So why was he driving the vehicle to begin with?
Well, and again, because he's a criminal, he would find a way to drive a vehicle,
Right.
whether he had a license or not, or whether he owned a vehicle or not, he was going to find a vehicle and do that.
Right.
Right.
Same thing with people with guns. They're going to find a way. Bad guys will always find a way to
Right.
harm others.
So now
Outlawing
is that going
guns.
to make cars automatic? So if somebody is driving the car and they're doing that the car is going to turn off? Well, I always,
Yeah, no,
that's a whole nother session, but you start thinking about
That wouldn't work
who-
because of all the deer on the road. I mean, my car would, you know what I'm saying?
I
There's
know,
people, if
I
there's
know.
anything in front, your car's, I
But
haven't
there-
heard that yet.
But they're trying to put how the semis are going to be automated and your cars are going to be automated and all that. Well, who has control of those? Who's taking care of that?
Yeah, nope, you're absolutely right. So many things to think about.
Yeah.
Well, and like if you take away guns, all that does is it hurts us law-abiding citizens.
Correct.
Like a gun equalizes you with
A
with a criminal, with somebody that's out to do you harm. Us girls, like if there was a big guy there and he had a gun, we would be in trouble. But if we had a gun, that would equalize us and we would be able to defend ourselves. And a gun is so that we can defend ourselves against a tyrannical government as well. It's not just against criminals, it's when our government gets tyrannical that we're supposed to be able to defend ourselves against that too, so that we can
Amen.
stay free.